name is Andrew Kearns. I'm the principal of the middle school, and I was one of the internal coordinators for the accreditation process, Excellence by Design.
I'm Courtney McNeely. I'm a director of instruction and one of the internal coordinators for the Excellence by Design protocol.
I'm Amy Stella, director of instruction, also an internal coordinator for Excellence by Design. We're here today to explain to you the district's strategic planning process.
To provide some background, what is accreditation? It can be defined as an external, objective validation of school quality and student achievement that fosters continuous school improvement. The Northern Burlington County Regional School District selected the Middle States Association of Colleges and Schools, Middle States, as its accreditation organization. In 2008, Northern Burlington went through the strategic process using a process created by Middle States called Accreditation for Growth. It required the district to conduct a self-study and establish a preferred future in the form of mission, beliefs, and profile of a graduate, and objectives. The school received accreditation in 2008 and focused on achieving the objectives until 2015, when the Middle States accreditation expired. In 2015, the school district began a new cycle of accreditation under Middle States, and this process is called Excellence by Design and is tailored for schools that have already been accredited.
Through this process, we revised the mission statement. The mission of the Northern Burlington County Regional School District, in shared alliance with home and community, is to establish a dynamic and challenging academic environment that promotes lifelong learning. Our schools will provide a safe and welcoming atmosphere where everyone is empowered to be a creative, independent, critical thinker, and a responsible citizen in a rapidly changing global society. We also revised our belief statements. We believe that all students have the right to an education in a safe and caring environment where learning is valued. We believe that our students are our community's most valuable asset and our educators are our most valuable resource. We believe that professional and personal growth create a culture of lifelong learning. We believe that an individualized, challenging curriculum is the foundation of an academically enriched, student-centered environment which supports all learners. We believe in developing a culture that respects and honors the uniqueness of the individual and fosters responsibility toward the community while guiding students to meet their potential. We believe all students must be conscientious, respectful, and purposeful users of information and communication technologies. We believe that schools share the responsibility with home and community in teaching and modeling ethical behavior, as well as positive social and academic skills. Through Excellence by Design, we also revised the profile of a graduate. These profiles are broken down into 3 broad categories: fundamental knowledge and skills, informational and technological literacy, interpersonal qualities. Objectives are goals that can be measured, and the Excellence by Design protocol has the district establish objectives to support the district's mission.
The 3 objectives that we developed include areas of academics, school community, and school culture. For the academic goal, we are looking to increase the degree of success in mastering a variety of indicators, such as PSAT scores, evaluation scores, and students' long-term academic planning. For school community, we're looking to increase engagement of all constituents at events and web-based communications via a variety of platforms. For our school culture goal, we seek to ensure a safe and welcoming environment and create responsible citizens by increasing participation of students and staff in activities, particularly those after school hours. Finally, the ExBD process includes a visitation from a team of teachers and administrators from outside of the district. This visit took place in May, and the next portion of this video will include their preliminary findings.
Good afternoon. Appreciate you folks coming out here this afternoon for what we all know is a very important report regarding our Excellence by Design journey. I remember starting this process 2 years ago, and we're not at the end of the process. I still think we're at the beginning of the process. We're going to hear a report on our status. And then we're going to be working in the next 7 years to continue on with action plans and progress towards making Northern Burlington the great school district that we know that it not only is, but will continue to be. So strategic planning is a very important part of the process, having a preferred vision, having a preferred future, and that's what we wanted to accomplish in the ExBD process. We wanted to do that collaboratively with our community and our teachers and our students. can tell you quickly, one thing I've learned from this is the value of surveys and how I'd like to get more involved with producing more surveys and getting more feedback. I think I learned some valuable lessons through this process. And I'm really looking forward to the next couple of years in working with you folks and working with MSA to continue on with the process. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Joseph Good, who has the ExBD report. And so I know we're all anxious, and I won't keep you waiting any longer. So, Mr. Good.
All right, I will read most of what I have here, but don't get excited because there's a lot of pages here. I'm an English teacher by trade, and I would never accept a paper written in that font with that spacing on the lines. I'm old and I need it big. The other thing is, just as a point of protocol, when I'm done, our team will simply leave. We don't stay around, we don't hang out to talk. That's for you all to digest what I give you and you know, celebrate for yourselves. But we don't stay, so it's not because we're being rude. That's what we have to do. So we'll say goodbye and we'll be gone. I will read this. This is just a synopsis of the final report. The final report will be anywhere 85 to 100 pages. And that'll come later on this summer. Okay? So, to get started and get you out of here. On behalf of the Middle States Association of Colleges and Schools and the Middle States Validation Team, we thank the staff, students, community, administration of the Northern Burlington School District for allowing our team to experience the educational process that exists here in a mutually supportive educational community. The purpose of our meeting this afternoon is to provide you with the preliminary report of the validation team. We should first acknowledge how much we appreciate the reception we have received, the open and frank dialogue that has taken place, and the candid responses that you have all given. The welcoming attitude of all the staff and students made our process more enjoyable. As we conclude our visit, we do so having experienced a positive school culture and climate, one of trust and respect. We found schools that are completely vested in the students. The Northern Burlington School District academic community drives the motivation exhibited by your students, who are the true indicators of your success. We spent a great deal of time discussing with staff, parents, students, community members, and board members, and have to acknowledge that good things are happening here. We thank you for the opportunity to be part of your family for the last 4 days. Mark Twain said there are basically two kinds of people: people who accomplish things and people who claim to have accomplished things. The first group is less crowded. The conscious decision to embark on the journey through excellence by design, in the Excellence by Design initiative, and take all the work associated with it, shows a vision of your leadership and determination of the staff to improve on an already successful educational program. The validation team recognizes the importance you place on developing the positive culture you've created and the plans you have to ensure it continues to be the standard for the school. The decision to choose the accreditation process shows the value the district places in long-range planning for student success. The district consciously made the decision to continue to be accredited by MSA. The process was put in motion by Dr. Saruta and Dr. McCormick with the support of board members. The internal coordinators, Dr. Kearns, Dr. Lopez, Courtney McNeely, and Amy Stella, took a positive approach from the beginning. The school leadership knew that they would perform the task at the highest standard. The trust that the leadership had in the internal coordinators was well placed. We could not have asked for a more welcoming, flexible, professional, and collegial group of people. They are to be commended for the work done in assuring that all elements of the protocol were appropriately addressed and completed. The selection of planning team members and the organization of all the stakeholder groups was designed to make the protocol successful. Without the effort of all those involved, our task would have surely been more difficult and the process less enjoyable. We recognize that the success of your accreditation is a direct result of the hard work of these folks and the members of the planning teams, and they are to be commended for the extraordinary work and leadership they provided throughout the process. This task was added to already full plates, making it a daunting undertaking. You are to be congratulated for choosing this initiative. We all took notice that you have well-maintained facilities. When we arrived at each school, we could not help but notice the well-maintained exterior facades, hallways, auditoriums, cafeteria, and other high-traffic areas. We applaud your custodial and maintenance staff for their hard work in keeping the schools clean and orderly. It's obvious that students and staff take pride in the appearance of the school. Despite the age of some of the schools, we hope you realize just how well maintained the facilities are at Northern Burlington. Excuse me. The plan for success of the school is focused on several pathways. There's a defined end result, which is the improvement of student academic performance and enhancing personal growth. The vision you have created includes where you want to go and how you're going to get there. The plans provide challenges along with a catalyst for change. The planning has included all stakeholders as active participants in the process and in the development of action plans to support the Excellence by Design initiative. There is in place a system that includes regular review and modification, creating a living document subject to change. I'll first talk about the planning process. The validation team has engaged in numerous discussions with staff, students, board members, administrators, and parents during the time we were here. We have determined that the planning process encompassed involvement by representatives of all the stakeholder groups. Administrators, coordinators, and faculty were designated to be on the planning teams. Other stakeholders were included on various committees who worked on various parts of the plan. As we spoke to these groups, we found that the shared collaboration was open, creative, and positive. The impetus was to develop and implement plans that were focused on student growth and success, while at the same time preserving the culture that exists at Northern Burlington. The results were gleaned from an analysis of student, parent, and staff input and utilization of available data, creating objectives that would be measurable and realistically attainable. The planning teams readily accepted the task of completing the self-study along with developing the objectives and action plans for the validation process. These groups worked in a collaborative effort with open dialogue. Each stakeholder lends a different perspective that can be invaluable. A regular scheduled review of the action plan goals and objectives will be an important benchmark in evaluating the progress of your plan. It's important that the planning team continues to take an active role in the periodic review of the plan and establish timelines for completion and evaluation of data and rewriting the action plan if necessary. It's also important that as new stakeholders, such as new staff, board members, and teachers appear, the district give them the opportunity to be fully involved in the process and provide an awareness and understanding of what is required. Under the content of the plan, the written report provided to Middle States will contain a wide variety of detailed comments by the validation team that will address all of the required standards for accreditation, including mission, beliefs, objectives, and action plans. What I will provide for you today is a synopsis of the most important aspects of the report. The philosophy and mission statement of the school is by design broad and visionary. As indicated in your documents, the mission of the Northern Burlington County Regional Schools, in shared alliance with home and community, is to establish a dynamic and challenging academic environment that promotes lifelong learning. Our schools will provide a safe and welcoming atmosphere where everyone is empowered to be a creative, independent, critical thinker, and a responsible citizen in a rapidly growing global society. The primary audience is, obviously and appropriately, the students in the community. The focus is centered on actions that challenge students in concert with all those who have an impact on their success. It indicates the development of student potential in terms of the mission. It is evident that the staff at Northern Burlington is committed to the whole student and who they are, not just what they learn. Carol Buckner said, "They may forget what you say, but they will never forget how you made them feel." The students here feel respected, that they have value. The team sees the mission as worthy and appropriate. It's evident to us that you will be able to accomplish your goal by providing challenging and continually evolving education and lifelong learning experiences. Through belief statements, one expresses their individual values, which are generally viewed as matters of faith, with little factual basis. Belief statements formulate a foundation for a strong planning ethic. It is by design that the planning process involves a diverse group of stakeholders. The plan reviewed contained a composite of personal views and values that collectively form the beliefs of the district. They ultimately become the expression of the core ethical values of a school. In our interviews with students, staff, parents, community members, and board members, it became clear to the team that the stakeholders understand what they believe and what they hold as important to the success of the district, its students, and the community. The school serves as a center of life for the community. A common web weaves its way through everything we've heard, and that is the focus on the students and their success. The belief statements written by the school fulfill the requirements of Middle States to include a set of values as part of the action plan. We experienced this week evidence through observation and dialogue, which validates what the written statements say. People working cooperatively with open collaboration and communication was evident in our conversations. Going forward, it will be important to include students in the protocol decision-making process. Interviews with students provided insight into the value that can be gained by involving them. It is important to encourage students as they are primary stakeholders in the education process. When asked by the team what some of the best things at Northern Burlington are, the students responded it would be the teachers who care about their education and the access to a wide variety of educational programs and activities that are afforded to them. They feel safe at school and are being provided with a good educational experience. This is a testament to the dedicated and caring staff at Northern Burlington. The final report to Middle State will include detailed, pertinent information regarding the specifics of the objectives, action plans, and each standard. The Excellent by Design protocol requires that the school identify 2 to 4 measurable performance and organizational objectives. Northern Burlington has developed MSA-approved objectives that meet the standards of Middle State's criteria for the objectives of the protocol. The objectives developed identify measurable goals, reflective of the results of student and staff input and data gathered in making the decision. The performance objectives developed are related to student outcomes. Appropriate data was used in the decision-making process. In listening to staff, we noted that the planning team had an awareness of the objectives and the process used in their development. Planning team members had knowledge of and input into the process. Staff were updated through meetings and written communication. The district should continue to involve staff and students to ensure that there is an ongoing awareness and dialogue. By doing this, you will ensure that everyone has ownership in the success of the plan and attainment of the goals. It also gives you a mechanism which will provide new perspectives. The school should take steps to develop benchmarks for plan review. The systematic collection and review of data and information will enhance the opportunity for the success of the plan. The plan is a living document and will need adjustment as outcomes are evaluated. As Will Rogers once said, even if you're on the right track, you'll get run over if you just sit there. In our review of the action plans, along with discussion involving students, staff, and other stakeholders, we find that the requirements of Middle States for the development of the action plans were met. The school has outlined specific outcomes indicated in the objectives submitted for those plans. The goals and objectives are clearly written and appropriate to the district. Pertinent data is included and was utilized in the decision-making process. The goals are realistic and attainable. Benchmarks and plan review points are included. Measures of success are indicated. Because the available data will continue to change, some measures may need to be adjusted to reflect current data. In fact, you may find it necessary to actually change an originally identified goal based on new data and information. Staff should be continually updated to ensure awareness of progress and changes. There needs to continue to be a high level of involvement of as many stakeholders as possible to ensure the plan's success. Benchmark data collection and review should be used for comparison purposes. The staff understand the plans and are in agreement as it pertains to the importance of the goals and objectives selected. We reviewed a large number of documents, had in-depth discussion, and observed the day-to-day operation of the schools in an effort to validate that the school has met all the standards criteria. Excuse me. An analysis of records and discussion with staff indicates there is evidence of quality staff development. Interviews also indicated that the board is supportive of the district's initiative. There is evidence provided as relates to each of the standards that allows us to determine whether or not a standard has been met based on criteria provided. There is evidence of quality staff development. Interviews indicate that the board is supportive of the school's initiative, trusting in the staff and administration's ability to complete the task. Adequate resources are allocated to support the educational program and a variety of activities. Discussion with parents and other community stakeholders also shows support for the initiative that has been undertaken. The school has in place the conditions which will allow them to achieve their objectives. The faculty is aware of the Excellence by Design standards and understands those standards for each affected area and how critical they are to the success of the plan. As I previously indicated, the written report will reflect each of the standards and evidence supporting the recommendation of the team. There was evidence that the school system has an institutional planning ethic. In addition to the goals and action plans formally connected to the Excellence by Design protocol, the district maintains financial, facilities, safety, and technology plans, among others. In our interviews with them, it is clear that the superintendent, directors, supervisors, administrators, and principals have created these plans openly, honestly, and collaboratively. District leaders have a unique sense of responsibility for student success. The school has in place the conditions which will allow them to achieve their objectives. The plan for communication among staff, the administration, students, and community will be an important part of the continuing effort. By utilizing the tools you have, your stakeholders can continually be made aware of the plan's status. Our team was pleased that the district leadership has adopted the Middle States Accreditation process as a genuine tool to develop foundational documents and a strategic plan, rather than going through a process for its own sake. We are confident that these documents, the goals, and action plans will survive long beyond our visit. At the conclusion of the visit, the validation team is asked to make an accreditation recommendation to the Middle States Commission on Secondary Schools based on evidence we found during our review. Our team has observed, interviewed, and documented information that leads us to the following conclusion. The school has defined and appropriate objectives. The school has established conditions under which they can be achieved. The school is currently working toward achieving the objectives. The school will be able to continue the effort in a foreseeable future. We will be pleased to recommend to Middle States Association that accreditation be awarded to Northern Burlington. We again thank you for your dedication and the warmth and hospitality extended to us during our time here. We came here as professional with a singular purpose. And I've had the privilege of working with outstanding educators who undertook the task of this validation and did so with professionalism and integrity. And I thank them for their efforts and dedication. Since I've spoken to you so much about success, I want to leave you with a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. He defines success as to laugh often and much, to earn the appreciation of honest critics, and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave this world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition, to know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. Thank you.
There's a tremendous amount of information connected with this accreditation process, and you can access much of it on our webpage, nburlington.com, and there is a tab there labeled Excellence by Design, and we encourage you to visit that location. Thank you.